Donald Trump has committed to imposing significant tariffs on imported goods to protect U.S. manufacturing and reduce dependence on foreign supply chains. His advisors have suggested that the incoming administration could levy tariffs between 45% and 60% on Chinese products, creating substantial economic pressure that could reshape U.S. China trade relations. This move represents a dramatic escalation in the ongoing U.S. China economic and strategic rivalry. In response, China has implemented sweeping new outbound restrictions, extending beyond its borders. As reported by Bloomberg, these unprecedented measures aim not only to limit the export of critical resources like gallium and germanium to the U.S., but also to prevent foreign companies from supplying U.S. customers with Chinese-derived materials that have both civilian and military applications. This signals China's growing efforts to counter U.S. sanctions and export controls, potentially altering global supply chains and compliance standards. These minerals aren't the only targets of China's tightening controls. The country is also imposing export restrictions on dual-use technologies and materials, including certain drone components. Many commercial drones rely on Chinese-made parts, such as high-efficiency batteries, specialized sensors, and advanced optics, which can easily be adapted for military purposes, including intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. These drones are crucial for both civilian applications, such as agriculture and infrastructure inspection, and for military and public safety agencies that require advanced unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. By restricting exports of these drone-related components and systems, China adds complexity and uncertainty to U.S. defense procurement and homeland security efforts. In December 2024, China announced it would halt shipments of key minerals to the U.S., including gallium, germanium, antimony, and ultra-hard materials. These minerals are critical for manufacturing semiconductors, solar modules, and defense equipment. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce stated that the restrictions are meant to safeguard national security and align with global obligations like non-proliferation. This move came after the U.S. government broadened its export restrictions on semiconductor production equipment, affecting more Chinese companies. Washington justified these measures on national security grounds, seeking to prevent China from acquiring technologies that could enhance its military capabilities. China's clampdown has fueled concerns about the stability of global supply chains for raw materials. The U.S. Geological Survey reports that China supplies about 60% of global germanium and 98% of gallium, making it a critical supplier for industries worldwide. As a result, mineral prices have surged, with antimony prices more than doubling, surpassing $25,000 per ton in 2024. For the first time, China's new trade regulations explicitly target parties outside its jurisdiction. Foreign companies and intermediaries that use Chinese materials or components in products ultimately sold in the U.S. could face legal consequences. This mirrors the extraterritorial application of sanctions typically seen with U.S. and European Union measures. The restrictions cover a broad range of items vital to American businesses, including gallium and germanium, which are essential for semiconductors, communications equipment, and defense technologies. Chinese authorities have hinted that additional dual-use goods, especially those with military applications, will face stricter controls. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce's recent announcement emphasized that individuals or entities from any country found transferring dual-use Chinese origin materials to U.S. recipients will face legal repercussions under Chinese law. This signals China's intent to enforce these policies aggressively, discouraging attempts to bypass direct prohibitions. Although the specific enforcement strategies remain unclear, legal experts believe this marks a more assertive Chinese approach to managing its global production networks. The U.S. has long depended on China's supplies of strategic minerals and advanced materials that support a wide range of high-tech sectors. Gallium and germanium are among the most critical, playing vital roles in the production of semiconductors, advanced communication systems, aerospace components, defense technologies, and next-generation energy solutions. China's decision to limit the export of these materials has raised serious concerns among U.S. industries, policymakers, and military strategists about the reliability and resilience of American supply chains. Gallium, often processed into gallium arsenide, is essential for manufacturing high-frequency, high-speed semiconductors used in mobile communications, satellite transceivers, radar systems, and a growing array of advanced sensors. Its unique properties, such as facilitating faster electron mobility and reducing signal noise, are indispensable for 5G and 6G telecom infrastructure, high-performance computing, and cutting-edge optoelectronic devices like LEDs and laser diodes. Germanium and gallium, two critical elements traditionally used in fiber optic systems and infrared imaging technologies, are becoming increasingly essential as the United States pushes forward with the expansion of its high-speed internet infrastructure. These materials are also key to the development of advanced thermal imaging arrays for military reconnaissance, aerospace guidance systems, and environmental monitoring technologies. Their importance goes far beyond these applications, with specialized solar cells, especially those used in satellites and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, relying on the enhanced efficiency and resilience these elements provide. For industries at the forefront of technological and defense innovation, germanium and gallium have become indispensable. Historically, prior to the imposition of Chinese export restrictions, U.S. manufacturers sourced both gallium and germanium from global commodity markets. In practice, these markets were heavily reliant on China's refining and processing capabilities. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, China has dominated global production, producing more than half of the world's germanium and nearly all of its high-purity gallium. This near-monopolistic control over these resources has given China significant leverage in shaping global supply chains. The sudden disruption of Chinese supply chains for these materials poses a serious threat to American industries. The implications for the U.S. defense sector in particular are concerning. If domestic defense contractors are unable to secure the necessary gallium arsenide wafers, critical components for advanced radar and missile guidance systems, it could delay the deployment of key military technologies. This, in turn, could have strategic consequences, undermining national security and affecting the United States' technological edge. Similarly, aerospace companies that rely on these materials for cutting-edge satellite technologies and communication systems face the possibility of missing critical deadlines. The inability to meet development timelines could not only result in significant financial losses, but also jeopardize the United States' position in the global race to modernize communication infrastructure and maintain dominance in space. The telecommunications sector is another area where supply disruptions could have far-reaching consequences. The industry, already under pressure to expand broadband access and compete on the international stage, may face bottlenecks due to limited access to gallium-based semiconductors, which are essential for high-frequency radio frequency (RF) components. Such constraints could slow the rollout of next-generation wireless networks, affecting everything from rural broadband initiatives to the development of cutting-edge 5G technologies. The United States risks falling behind other nations in the digital infrastructure race, which would hinder its ability to maintain global competitiveness in sectors ranging from consumer electronics to advanced quantum communications. On the defense front, the stakes are even higher. Gallium and germanium are integral to a wide range of defense technologies, including night vision systems, advanced avionics, missile guidance systems, and secure satellite communications. A prolonged shortage of these materials, or dramatic price increases, could force defense contractors to pivot, seeking alternative suppliers or materials to substitute for gallium and germanium. Such efforts would likely incur high costs, requiring significant investments in research and development, R&D, and extending the timeline for system designs. Additionally, if materials like gallium and germanium are not available for immediate use, defense contractors may be forced to stockpile or recycle components, a process that could drive up procurement costs and reduce operational efficiency. This could have direct consequences on the readiness and technological superiority of the U.S. military, undermining its competitive advantage on the world stage. Beyond the defense and telecommunications sectors, the implications of these supply disruptions extend to broader industries, including renewable energy and high-tech manufacturing. Semiconductor manufacturers, who produce chips for everything from data centers to electric vehicles and advanced computing platforms, now face new risks in sourcing gallium and germanium. Price hikes and supply chain volatility, already seen with materials like antimony, could ripple through the entire value chain, leading to increased costs for consumer electronics, data infrastructure upgrades, and even slowing the U.S. transition to a greener, more energy-efficient economy. Now, you may be wondering why these materials are so important. Gallium and germanium play critical roles in several high-tech industries. Gallium is especially essential in the creation of gallium arsenide chips, which are vital for high-frequency and fast applications, such as those in cell phones, satellite communication systems, and radar technologies. In addition, gallium is used in the production of LEDs, laser diodes for fiber optics, and medical instrumentation, and it enhances the efficiency of certain solar panels. Germanium, on the other hand, is crucial for the production of fiber optic cables, which enable long-distance high-speed data transmission. It also underpins infrared optics used in thermal imaging systems, particularly in defense applications, and is essential for the performance of various semiconductor devices. As the United States grapples with the tightening of Chinese export controls, these vital materials are now subject to more stringent oversight. The The U.S. is already feeling the pressure of disruptions to its supply chain, with manufacturers struggling to source gallium and germanium from alternative suppliers or boost domestic production. This not only raises operational costs, but also dampens the growth prospects of American industries at the cutting edge of technology. The situation is further complicated by China's broader strategy to limit the export of dual-use goods, those that have both civilian and military applications. These include advanced computing hardware, such as high-performance chips, memory modules, and specialized devices that power both consumer electronics and military systems. Artificial intelligence tools, ranging from machine learning algorithms to software supporting autonomous weaponry, surveillance, and cybersecurity, are also under heightened scrutiny. Similarly, biotechnology products with potential military applications, such as pharmaceuticals adaptable for biological warfare, and aerospace materials like advanced alloys and composites may now be harder to obtain. The ramifications of these stricter export controls are not just economic. They have far-reaching strategic and geopolitical implications. By curbing the export of these critical resources, China is positioning itself to secure its national defense interests, while maintaining its supremacy in key high-tech sectors. The United States now faces the challenge of navigating a world in which access to essential materials like gallium and germanium could be severely limited, requiring new strategies to safeguard its technological leadership. In conclusion, the growing scarcity of gallium and germanium has profound implications not only for the U.S. defense industry, but for a wide range of sectors, including telecommunications, aerospace, renewable energy, and semiconductor manufacturing. As supply chains are increasingly disrupted, the United States will need to rethink its approach to securing these essential materials to maintain its global competitiveness and ensure the continued advancement of key technologies in both civilian and military domains. The strategic importance of preventing critical technologies from reaching potential rivals is central to strengthening China's position on the global stage. By restricting foreign access to these advanced technologies, China not only bolsters its own domestic research and development (R&D) efforts, but also fosters growth within its high-tech ecosystems. This self-sufficiency in key technological areas enhances China's long-term competitiveness and technological autonomy. On the diplomatic front, these restrictions provide China with a powerful bargaining chip. The country can leverage its control over critical resources and technologies to negotiate advantageous trade deals and geopolitical arrangements. By controlling the flow of sensitive items and technologies, Beijing effectively positions itself as an influential player in global trade negotiations. For globally active U.S. corporations, this tightening of controls presents significant challenges. Compliance with China's restrictions requires stringent measures to ensure that dual-use technologies, those with both civilian and military applications, do not inadvertently end up in the hands of unauthorized recipients. To adhere to these regulations, companies must implement robust compliance frameworks and exercise meticulous diligence. Failure to do so could result in severe consequences, including penalties, sanctions, or substantial damage to corporate reputations. This compliance challenge necessitates significant investment in tracking systems and management solutions to handle sensitive materials and remain in line with China's rigorous export controls. The scope of enforcement, however, remains uncertain. China's 2020 export control law laid the foundation for tighter regulations, but there is still ambiguity around how far Beijing will extend its extraterritorial powers. While China's immediate priority might be to deter local firms from masking shipments and to discourage intermediary countries from assisting U.S. buyers in circumventing trade restrictions, experts suggest that the possibility of broader enforcement remains. Comparisons have been drawn between China's evolving approach to export controls and the established U.S. practice of extraterritorial regulation on sensitive technologies. Although China lacks the extensive enforcement infrastructure that the U.S. possesses, these new rules signal Beijing's determined pushback against external restrictions, particularly those imposed by the U.S. and its allies. The growing alliance between Russia and China adds another layer of complexity to this situation. As China faces increasing trade friction with the U.S., its partnership with Russia serves as a strategic counterbalance. Although the U.S. and China are economically intertwined, the intensifying trade hostilities and heightened scrutiny of Chinese technology have prompted Beijing to diversify its alliances and reduce its reliance on American markets. Strengthening ties with Russia serves multiple strategic goals for China, particularly in terms of energy security and resource diversification. China's vast manufacturing base depends heavily on stable access to raw materials, and Russia, as a leading exporter of oil, gas, metals, and other essential commodities, plays a crucial role in securing China's supply chains. Projects like the Power of Siberia pipeline solidify China's long-term energy assurance, providing a dependable alternative to U.S.-controlled energy routes. This alliance also aids China's technological ambitions. While Russia's tech sector lags behind the U.S. and Europe in some areas, it holds significant capabilities in sectors like defense, aerospace, cybersecurity, and specialized materials. Through joint R&D initiatives and technological exchanges, China can reduce its reliance on Western intellectual property, diminishing Washington's technological leverage over time. In the financial domain, the U.S.'s dominance in global finance, fueled by the dollar and control over payment systems like SWIFT, gives Washington considerable power to impose sanctions. Both China and Russia share a mutual interest in reducing their vulnerability to U.S. financial influence. Deepening financial cooperation between the two nations, including settling trade transactions in national currencies and exploring alternative payment systems or digital currencies, allows them to gradually erode the U.S. dollar's supremacy. This move reduces the potency of U.S. sanctions, helping to mitigate the economic impact of future trade conflicts. Beyond economic cooperation, Russia's support provides China with valuable diplomatic backing and strategic heft. As the U.S. works to rally its allies and counter China's growing global influence, Russia's endorsement in international forums such as the United Nations Security Council (UNSC) and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) complicates U.S. efforts to isolate China diplomatically. This alliance strengthens China's geopolitical posture, ensuring that it is not left encircled by opposing forces, thus bolstering its global stability amid rising trade tensions. Another key area of collaboration between China and Russia is the expansion of alternative trade and infrastructure routes. The Sino-Russian partnership is driving new infrastructure initiatives, creating fresh trade corridors that reduce China's dependence on traditional shipping routes influenced by U.S. interests. Initiatives like the Northern Sea Route offer shorter travel times and lower costs for Chinese exports to Europe. By constructing pipelines, railways, and communication links, China is securing more diversified and stable trade channels. These efforts help to counterbalance the impact of U.S. tariffs, as China can now reach new markets and bypass American-dominated trade hubs. In the event of intensified U.S. sanctions or technology restrictions, China and Russia are poised to synchronize their responses. Both nations have weathered Western sanctions in the past, Russia since 2014 and China more recently, and their combined experience provides them with a robust framework for mitigating the effects of such economic pressures. By pooling resources, knowledge, and expertise, both countries can coordinate countermeasures to stabilize their domestic economies and counter external threats. This cooperative resilience diminishes the effectiveness of U.S. sanctions, making it more difficult for Washington to impose its will on both nations. The trade war between the U.S. and China formally began during the first term of President Donald Trump, marking a pivotal shift in bilateral economic relations. In 2018, the U.S. imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese products, citing concerns over intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and persistent trade imbalances. With the U.S. trade deficit with China exceeding $375 billion in 2017, these tariffs were intended to curb the trade imbalance and address long-standing economic grievances. The tariffs initiated in July 2018 on $34 billion worth of Chinese imports, including machinery and electronic parts, prompted retaliatory measures from Beijing, including levies on U.S. agricultural products like soybeans. By late 2019, U.S. tariffs extended to cover $550 billion of Chinese imports, which included a wide array of consumer goods. China retaliated with tariffs on $185 billion of U.S. exports, intensifying the global trade uncertainty and raising operational costs for businesses on both sides. The effects were particularly felt in the U.S. agricultural sector, with soybean farmers losing access to the Chinese market as Beijing turned to suppliers in Brazil and other nations. A study conducted between 2018 and 2020 revealed that the costs of these tariffs were largely borne by American households and businesses. A 2019 Federal Reserve Bank of New York study estimated that the average household lost around $831 annually due to the trade war. China's exports to the U.S. began to decline, particularly in key sectors, forcing Beijing to explore new markets and increase domestic consumption to compensate for lost revenue. In January 2020, both nations signed the Phase 1 trade deal, which was seen as an effort to de-escalate tensions. Under the deal, China pledged to purchase an additional $200 billion worth of U.S. goods and services above 2017 levels and address intellectual property issues. In return, the U.S. postponed tariff hikes and lowered certain existing duties. However, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global trade, and by late 2021, China had only fulfilled about 60% of its commitments under the deal. Structural issues, such as industrial subsidies, remained unresolved. China's decision to implement extraterritorial export restrictions represents a significant escalation in trade and technology tensions with the U.S. By holding foreign companies liable for transferring Chinese origin goods to the United States, China introduces new complexities and uncertainties into global supply chains. While the long-term effects of these policies are still unclear, they underscore China's willingness to leverage its control over critical inputs and production capabilities to reshape the landscape of international trade. In conclusion, China's growing partnership with Russia strengthens its ability to withstand the economic and geopolitical challenges posed by the U.S. By ensuring steady resource flows, pursuing joint technological initiatives, diversifying financial tools, and securing diplomatic support, China is positioning itself to reduce its susceptibility to U.S. pressure. This evolving partnership between China and Russia has the potential to reshape the global economic order, complicating U.S. efforts to use trade as a strategic weapon and reinforcing China's enduring global influence. Thank you for watching this video. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please consider expressing your support by liking this video and subscribing to stay connected with our community. Your support means a great deal to us. You can also watch another video from our channel, which is now appearing on your screen.